Greetings from the Berrymobile. We're back home after having shot the video for Going Nowhere. Took just over 2 weeks, went just over 4,000 miles through 12 different states, shot over 1,500 clips that range in length from 4 seconds to 4 minutes, and pared it down to make the video that you see. Let's go have a look and see how it was all put together. What about all the places we went to that didn't make the cut? Let's have a look. But also, like I was saying, do you want to be at one of these?
A lot of our earliest footage for Going Nowhere actually started right here in the town where we live, in Douglasville, Georgia. And really, a lot of these shots just ended up being kind of experiments with how to do the camera angles, how to shoot the boots walking, that type of thing. Later, we ventured out a little bit further to Warm Springs, Georgia, to Roosevelt State Park. This area here is called Dowdle's Knob, which was actually, it had some historical significance to it. It's where Franklin Roosevelt used to have his barbecues, but it's got a beautiful view. However, we ended up not using this footage. One of the side trips we took while we were in Santa Fe was up to Los Alamos, New Mexico, to take a look at the museum dedicated to the Manhattan Project that took place over there. However, the place was so small, there wasn't really too much to film. So really the drive up there is what was so absolutely gorgeous. And a little tiny clip of it did make it into the video, but not Los Alamos itself. The same day we went to Los Alamos, we also went to a little town called Nambe, which was where my grandmother was from, and then on to a tiny little village called Chimayo, where there is an amazing New Mexican cuisine restaurant called Rancho de Chimayo. And there's also a little church there called the Santuario, which is a place we almost always visit when we go up there just because it is so beautiful. On our way down to White Sands, Steve and I were talking about finding a good place to film the car on a really dusty road out in the middle of nowhere when we thought of Fort Craig, which we had been to before. This is a little-known historic site where one of only 2 Civil War battles were fought in New Mexico, and in fact a great-great-grandfather of mine was actually in it. But it's a beautifully desolate place with nothing but dusty roads to get to it. It's where I got this rearview mirror shot of us kicking up dust behind the car. But it's also a place where we met some very curious and friendly local cows.
Our first 2 videos had a lot of special effects to them, but this one didn't. It did have some filming tricks though. Let's have a look.
Like with our last 2 videos, all footage was shot with my iPhone, so I spent much of the trip looking like this inside the vehicle. But for the sake of transitions that showed we were headed to the next place, we needed some interesting exterior shots too. Since I didn't want to risk hanging my iPhone out the window, for the wheel close-ups we went to a local parking lot where I could walk alongside the moving car at a slow pace and get some natural zooms, which I just sped up in post-production.
We are rolling.
The idea to write the video's opening titles in the sand was rather spontaneous when we got to White Sands, but to write legibly I couldn't go too fast, so that too was obviously sped up later. But because the audio on the raw footage was nothing but really loud wind, I had to make some artificial sound effects at home to go with the new speed of writing.
The boots did an awful lot of walking throughout the video, but how did we get all those shots? Who was the cameraman who got them for us? Behold, the humble selfie stick.
The easiest way for the camera to keep pace with me walking in the boots was simply to film it myself using a cheap selfie stick. It took a little practice to get the angle consistent, but it worked out a lot better than Steve trying to follow me around with the camera so close to the ground.
So we should have gotten the shot at White Sands, but we didn't. Diane thought of it after the fact, and we went to the craft store, bought a jar of sand, and this is us leaving White Sands, New Mexico, but we're at the local park here in town. It's a simple shot, but it's fun.
The magic of video.
Like with any film shoot, this project wasn't without its quirks. Have a look. One of the reasons we didn't spend too much time in Tupelo was because there was a really bad storm approaching, coming across Arkansas. We had to grab what footage we could by the Elvis statue and move on. And you can see from a little bit of footage here that we had to punch our way through that storm that was quickly approaching Memphis. It's some of the only video that we did get of Arkansas. While we were in Santa Fe, we actually woke up to snow on 3 different occasions. In fact, I think it was 3 consecutive days. That hindered filming a little bit. We even tried to get a little bit of footage of the boots trudging through the snow, and that didn't work out so well. One thing on the trip we weren't expecting to be such an issue was bugs, and more bugs. I think I spent more time cleaning the windshield than I did in front of the camera otherwise. I tried to keep the windshield as clean as possible for Diane so she could get all the good shots in front of us and everything that she could, but after a while it was just futile. We had to accept that bugs on the windshield are part of the experience, so. Rolling. Our cat Skittles is a sweetheart, but she doesn't really take well to direction. We had a really hard time getting her to stay in frame just for that one quick little shot at the end. She would either walk towards Diane or out of the frame. It took a minute.
Far out of the frame, girl. Come back to here we go. Go.
And here's a few fun facts about the video for you.
This is what's left of the ghost town called Montoya. I guess the significance of it to me is, well, Montoya is my maiden name, and an ancestor of mine used to own an enormous tract of land, had a huge ranch here that was literally like tens of thousands of acres, and there was a little town here, and this is pretty much all that's left. Yeah.
It's a really quick clip, and if you blink, you miss it. We're trying to give a shout out to a lot of the internet radio stations that play us so much, and Diane had the idea of taking a bunch of their stickers and putting them on a piece of luggage. We even have a famous filming location in our video. In the Savannah segment, where you see the statue, that's in a city park called Chippewa Square. What you know it from is the movie Forrest Gump. That's where he's sitting on the park bench talking to all the people as they're waiting for the bus. 2 more important cast members to the video are the Lego versions of ourselves. We had to hunt high and low for the pieces, but I think we did a pretty good job of recreating ourselves as Lego figures, don't you? And that's how the Cranberry merchants roll when we're going nowhere. Thanks for watching.